Okay. So, General Bray, if you can, I've given JP a little background, a little context rather, on why I decided to get this project involved in the U.S. Army. Although it was really my attempt to do something that would connect to Compton High School. I told JP a little bit about Victory by Valor being a project that I submitted to the U.S. Army. And
all right, let me kick in real quick. First of all, JP, tell me your interest.
All right. Well, nice to meet you, sir. Yeah. So I'm really interested in doing either cinematography and acting, but I do a kind of plethora of a mix of everything. I've worked with Kevin before on like a Thanksgiving project with the Brotherhood Crusade. I can do my own editing. I have my own setup and my own filming. I've done a lot of freelance in my own time, but my main focus in the entertainment industry is either cinematography or acting. That's my thing, but also being able to help connect an audience to what they're seeing on screen to help them feel emotionally what we're trying to show them, to be able to visually portray a story to give to an audience. That's my main end goal. So yeah, and I think that being a part.
Good.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So good. Let me do this for you. Okay. One is that I'm gonna tell you first of all. Are you able where you can type your own thoughts as I speak?
Type my own thoughts.
Your own thoughts. I'm going to say some things, and I want you to be visceral in what you're thinking as you're listening to it, and I want you to remember what you bring to the fight that is unique, because there's a perspective that you have that I can't possibly imagine at this time, because the world that you're in is different from the one that I came up in. And to make it clear, my world I came up in was post World War II, solid Vietnam, and post Korean War. That's the world I grew up in. And then I went through as a military member, trained by Vietnam vets, reflexive of the time and period where people who were training me felt comfortable saying Jap and Kraut. Terms that today people look at them like, what kind of a penis you have coming out of your forehead, because it is insensitive and it is incorrect and it paints a whole people. So you're not of that ilk. And so your ideas of patriotism are different from those that came up, because you are, and people hate this word woke, but I love it because I grew up where I went to separate water fountains because of my color as a 10-year-old, 10 to 11. So think about that. What the hell was I thinking that it didn't even bother me? I didn't think about it. Yeah. I was freaking sleepwalking. Okay. So, and by the way, another one of my commanders was a 1966 graduate of the University of Alabama. And he and I came back from Iraq, and we were sitting on the back porch and we were talking, and I was sitting there thinking, he was a sophomore at his university when George Wallace stood on the steps of Alabama and said, segregation now, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever. And yet we were smoking, and he and I said at the same time, that's just the way it was. So that's the world that I have transitioned from. Now let's talk about this project, because I want you to tell the story with that kind of thought in mind and to think about what matters.
Okay.
In 1948, our services integrated. Okay, and they integrated not for real, but on paper, because President Truman instituted Executive Order 9981. He said, this is BS. He knew he couldn't get Congress to do anything on its own. So he did an executive order to integrate the services. Now, just because he said it doesn't make it so. Okay, yeah. But it's 75 years ago. And so people had to really learn. So it forced integration. It forced leadership. But at the same time, there were guys like me that would come later on because my dad was on the USS Ticonderoga, a naval ship where most of the folks that were not war fighters. They were that were of color. And by the way, even up to the 90s on a US on a Navy carrier, a Navy anything, the cooks were black and Filipino. Up
Yeah.
until the 80s and 90s. You know what I'm talking about. And but you know why? Because culture is the last thing you can break. In this country, we're still fighting culture, trying to get people to understand. But it forced that change. Now, having said that, it wasn't just the military, because Army, don't think Army, I think military. And the Army was the most accommodating for issues of race. And that was true probably the early 2000s. The Air Force is a spinoff from the Army, so understand that. And by the way, as the newest service at that time, they were also the most easily changeable. That's why your first general officer, Benjamin O. Davis, and his son came up out of that piece, out of the Army Air Corps, then later the Air Force. Very different. Hey, put us on pause for a second. I'm going through a gate in the middle, so put us on pause. Thank you, sir. So if you think about that, you say, wow, okay. Now, why do I mention that 200 plus different ways that people serve inside of our military? Because we have a band. All bases just about have a band. We also produce our own kinds of stories. Look at the military members in the theater world. Audie Murphy, you know who he is, right? You heard the name before?
Eddie Murphy?
Audie Murphy.
Audie Murphy?
Audie Murphy, white guy. He was a cowboy, big time actress. He is the most decorated military person in the history of our services. He was a frightening young boy landing on Omaha Beach during World War II. Almost couldn't get him off of the landing craft. But then after he got into the muck, he realized the only thing he could do was fight to get out of it. And then he started fighting more often, and he got a battlefield commission. Now he's a white guy, but he talks about the broadness. And by the way, he became a million plus seller as an actor. Jimmy Stewart, you know that name.
I think I've heard Jimmy Stewart.
The numbers of actors that came out of the military are, especially after the war, the good-looking guys, the Chuck Connors of the world, all these guys served. All these guys served in the military. And then in the African American community, we're talking about victory by valor. The Sammy Davis Juniors, and we think about our military principally as just war fighters, but the reality is, remember, up until the Vietnam War, America went to war. Yeah. Every person of talent, no matter what you had, the Sammy Davis Juniors. And so what happened is those persons of talent, when they came back, their skills were there, but more important than their skills being there, their minds and attitudes were changed. Their value had changed. Their value to the nation had changed. Now many people of this generation really applaud Muhammad Ali for his taking his stance to resist being forced into the military. But at the same time, the example that they wanted to point to of what it meant to be both American citizen and an American role model was the Brown Bomber, because he did both. He changed the perceptions, and there are those who say, well, he was a good Negro because he stood up and served.
Yeah.
Well, the reality is he was good American because he also understood his place. You talk about the Jackie Robinsons. Jackie Robinson was not the best Negro baseball player.
Yeah.
He was the one who knew how to tolerate what the world was going to throw at him, but he did it with the strength of conviction and the intellect of mind to be able to know where that space is that you have to go ahead and pick your, just like any fighter does. You don't swing every time. You pick your fight. You pick your places.
Yeah.
And that's what these folks did. And by the way, if they don't exist, you know, for instance, President Barack Obama does not exist without Colin Powell, because Colin Powell convinced America. He convinced America that, one, we had the wherewithal and chutzpah to lead and decide at a strategic and international world what's right for America. That space was done by the military. Now, here's what people forget sometimes. Medgar Evers was a soldier. The military opened up competition of thought in a way that nothing else ever does or ever could. My dad, who I mentioned was on the USS Ticonderoga, when he served, he said, you know, one of the things that helped change his mind about who he was he realized that he could do everything on that ship, even though they made him, because, you know, one of the things that people don't realize is what happened with the Dorian, I forgot his last name, maybe Dorian Gray, I might be right, but anyhow, Dorian, when he was on the Arizona and jumped up and used the rifle, and I mean not rifles, but the anti-aircraft guns. Everybody got excited by that and said, "We are a black guy goes up there," and they were trying to cite somebody. My dad said every single person that was every single person that's on that ship is taught how to jump and get behind those guns. My dad said he doesn't know if he hit if he actually shot down one himself. He said all he knows was I'm shooting on the Ticonderoga, and then a kamikaze aircraft that I'm shooting at crashes to my left, blew him back. But he continues to limp. He stayed in and he limps back. Literally, the ship limps back to Norfolk. You know, out of enemy territory waters, they got a 30-degree lane on their ship, taking them back. And they're wondering if they're going to get out of those waters.
Yeah.
So what I say to you is this. Then you got the Sammy Davis Juniors. They survive. They come back out of this thing, and they start to, first of all, he adjusts how he talks, but he keeps the culture. He shows his talents, and he knows how to get his talents exposed. And when people start to see him, all of a sudden they start to say to themselves, wow, he is just good. Because guess what? He's been performing with other people in an open environment whereby he didn't have to hide his abilities or perform just in front of people of his own race. That's the uniqueness of the military. And then the select few recognize that what I'm doing will benefit my children. I'm going to ask you to look at a movie called Soldier Story if you haven't ever done it.
What was it called?
Soldier Story. It's a movie.
Soldier Story.
Soldier
A Soldier
Story.
Story?
A
Is
Soldier
it
Story.
1984?
That's it.
All right.
That's it. All right. And what you're going to see is that, and I want you to really pay attention to the first sergeant.
Okay.
And I want you to watch what the first sergeant does, and I want you to see what his ulterior motives were, because it goes to the core of what you are talking about in Victory by Valor. It's a commitment of men who realize that the world is changing, and their ability to exemplify exemplify the capabilities of who they are as a people will benefit others. And the consciousness of those select few to recognize that we're building something here. And then more importantly, a recognition that it's not about me. It's about our people.
Mm-hmm.
And you ever heard the song, "How We're Gonna Keep Them Down on the Phone After They've Seen Perry"? You heard that song before?
Yeah.
Well, that song was about the African American after World War I, having been to Paris, whereby the Parisian women were screwing them left and right. And all of a sudden they were having sex with white women, the forbidden fruit of the United States. And that's what also caused great fear for the white men in America. Now, this what I just said just now is a sidebar. It's the
I think you went mute. Hold on. I can't hear you.
General Bray, you're on mute.
General?
I just asked him to unmute. Wait a minute. Okay, I think
what was
he went.
that?
Yeah, I think he went through a little bit of a bandwidth issue.
Oh.
Yeah. So JP, I think what we've done is we've gotten an introduction into the general's heart and soul. I mean, this is him literally just pouring his consciousness out to you. I don't know if you have a bandwidth to really receive a lot of it, but it is really what I've taken in and embraced to even start this project. So I've known him for almost now 12 years, and he's really hit me across the face with the fact that this is going to be a very lonely journey, not one that's going to be recognized as something that's really compelling or important. But I think if I can pull some parts of it off, some people like yourself, even younger than you, will start to realize there's some parts of it that they've never heard before, and they can learn some stories and some lessons from people like General Bray and the people that were studying in Victory by Valor, who fought and died for a country that never really appreciated them. And that's not just Black folks, Asian, Hispanic, but a lot of other people who have had to, unfortunately, not have the equity and the same rights as the dominant culture and having the piece of the American dream, but fought and died for that. And those are the things that we really want people to take a listen and take, some facts about what this timeline will do to allow them to understand that maybe if they were put in that situation themselves this year, next year, another war, would they do some of those same things to make sure that their future grandkids and people they've never even met yet, haven't even born yet, would have the same kind of opportunities, the same safety as they enjoy? That's what these people did in many cases. They didn't know the sacrifices they were making were going to be that dramatic. So with that being said, I'm going to show you something that I'm going to probably see if we can reschedule. But this is the document. It's 363 pages.
Okay.
This is the tabletop book for Victory by Valor.
Okay.
I'll send this to you, but this is really my playbook for the 7 people that you're going to put together. This talks about some of the things that you may be able to glean. I put a lot of these little saying in here so that you can get some little sound bites. Poor is the nation that has no heroes. Shameful is the nation that does not honor them. And you see to the left, these are very iconic people. Ted Williams, who's a baseball player, Joe Louis. And I got this caption, Playing Field to the Battlefield, from a book. And it literally talks about guys who were athletes who did, again, have 2 uniforms on the playing field and the battlefield. But this is another, image that, I don't know if you've ever seen this guy, Henry Fonda, an actor.
I've not, no.
Jimmy Stewart. Yeah, these are guys, man, who were iconic actors in Hollywood, but they also served their country.
Yeah.
But this is a tabletop book that has a lot of images and a lot of sayings that really distill the soul of Victory by Valor. 363 pages I put together. I worked on this project for 2 years straight. And these are all very important images in my understanding of what I want to share with people. Joe Louis,
Yeah.
Jackie Robinson. So I'm thinking, do you have any questions, suggestions, or comments about how you can better absorb what it is we're trying to get done here?
I would just ask, like, what kind of, I understand the story that you guys want portrayed, but is this book kind of like the storyboard of the whole film project that you're trying to go off of? Because I'm getting all this information from both you and General, but I'm still trying to picture in my mind how exactly what your vision is.
Right. So let me say that this 363 it's a tabletop book. Featured in these 363 pages are men and women, different races, different eras, and all of these people represent facts and figures. So we're only going to be taking 7 people from the 363 pages. And these people that we're going to focus on for the 60-minute piece, I want you to try and get some understanding of how these people represent the 7 people who are going to be standing tall for all the other people in this book. So David Robinson, we have Muhammad Ali, Arthur Ashe, Sugar Ray Robinson, Jackie Robinson, Joe Louis. So I wanted this to be more of a documentary that showed file footage and voice, video, and some data as opposed to a lot of photography. But the part that you're going to play is you're going to take the video file footage and help us stitch it together so that when we can actually find the right photograph, an additional photograph, additional voices from General Bray and other people, we can then put that in as additional inserts. So right now, we just want to string together the 30 minutes we've got and the additional maybe 30 minutes that we're going to put in to create a 60-minute composite of everything that we can share with all the people who may be producers, contributors, or just enthusiasts like me who want to put their voices in this thing. So
Okay.
My goal is to really give you just the raw material and see if I can help you stitch these things together in a way that you understand. Because at some point, I want to put your voice on.
Okay.
So instead of just being an editor, I want you to be able to interpret what you're seeing and have, your chance to say something about it. Because you're a 20-year-old person, and again, I don't know, did anybody in your family serve in the military?
Yeah, I have a lot of family in the military. Not in my immediate family, but I do have extended family that has served in the military.
Yeah. So in a perfect world, I would love to have you interview some of the people that you can access who in the military and get their opinions about service, sacrifice, and all the things that you will find will be talking points so that you can get a better understanding of how this connected to your family and to the people that you can get, in contact with. Because at some point, the people that I want you to reach are people that you don't know, but you have to start with the people that you do know. It's
Okay.
even just so this is just again just a big volume of photographs and stories. Way too much to go through right now, but if we start just with the 30-minute piece that we have, and again, this is the blog that I put together. So you may not see. So this is a 30-second piece, 30-minute piece.
Did you send it to me?
Yeah. So I said this is what I said for the Gmail.
Oh,
So
okay.
this,
Let me look for it. Which
right.
is it the Arthur Ashe one? Hold on.
It's called Brother. This is a 30-minute piece that Damone finished that you're going to add the Arthur Ashe, the Willie Mays, the Jackie Robinson, and Joe Lewis pieces. But this is 30 minutes that Damone's already put together. It's called Brothers in Arms with Mini Doc.
Okay, I'm trying to hold on. I'm trying to
It's a
figure
huge
out
file. Huge file that I can resend. But this is the 30-minute piece that we're going to have you deconstruct and add pieces in between what he's put together.
Okay, sorry. So Damone made 30 minutes. I need to deconstruct it and then kind of fix it up a little bit is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, and you're just gonna add more content than what he put. He put 30 in. You're gonna add probably close to another 30 minutes, but you're gonna do it in a sequence that I'm gonna help you set up with a shot sheet. We'll start with the Joe Lewis pieces first. Then we'll go second to Jackie Robinson. Then we're gonna go.
Okay, I see the Joe Lewis screenshots and MP4s. I don't see Jackie Robinson. I see Joe Lewis and Arthur. Jackie, hold on. The next project. Okay, I think I see the Jackie. Yeah. The only emails that I've gotten are the raw footage and what's it called
And there's a few
photographs. I
Yeah.
don't see the 30-minute cut that you sent me.
So I'm going to send that to you. So the 30-minute piece, I'll send it as an MP4, but it is the master tape that we're going to deconstruct, and you're going to slice in these other people, and I'll give them to you in a order that allows you to put in the first one so we can see how that looks before we move on to the second one. So let me send that 30-minute piece to you, but it's a 30-minute, almost 3 gig file that I'm going to send via Google Docs.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, so once you take a look at the 30-minute piece, then we'll start to look at how we slice in the very first person that we're going to add on, or we're going to take a section out and then put a section in, will be Joe Lewis.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think I'm looking at it now to make sure I can find it. And let me know if you can see it.
Let me see.
Wait a minute. No.
Nothing's in my email yet.
Okay. No, it's going to take a while. This is a humongous file.
Yeah,
Three
it
gigs,
might
three gigs.
it might take a little bit until it loads in. Yeah.
Okay.
Is it a
Right.
Google Drive file?
Yeah, the Google Drive. Yeah.
Okay, it's gonna take a while. Then, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's do this. Let's break contact and see if we can um, take the very first person, Joe Lewis, look at stacking the MP4s and a few photographs of him to add on to the pieces, and I'll give you the time so that you can allow yourself to kind of ask questions. But the time frame for which we can start to put this in together will be when you're ready. So I'm going to make sure that I'm available for you because I have nothing going on during the holiday season. I'll make sure I'm available for you so we can start with Joe Lewis first. Okay?
Yeah, I can, I'm working this entire weekend, but like during like the afternoon when I wake up, like around, now around this time, for the rest of the week, I can, try to hop on for like an hour or two and try to work on whatever it is we need to get finished or whatever our goals are. So yeah, I'll just let you know when I'm free, and then we can hop on real quick and try to start discussing and going over more stuff. But yeah, definitely I need that 30-minute clip. I'll look over it once it's sent to me, or once it finishes loading, I'll look into it and try to watch and try to understand a little bit better the moments that you're explaining right now, and then also as well as go over all the footage that you already sent me for. You said for Joe.
For Joe, yeah. So we'll start first with Joe, and then we'll move to Jackie, then to Sugar Ray Robinson, then to Willie Mays and Arthur Ashe. We've already got all the stuff we need for Earl and Tiger Woods and for David Robinson.
Okay, and you said you just want me to basically kind of just find moments in between the 30-minute clip that you already have to try to insert.
I've already got a shot sequence, and I have the time code. I have the title of the MP4 and the time code for which we'll be able to insert it in, so you don't have to do a lot of, interpretation. So that's what I'll be working on, give you the time code on each one of the pieces that will go where. Okay.
All right, sounds good. And then was this did Damone edit this on Premiere Pro?
Yes.
Okay, because I was gonna say like I have never tried it myself, but I believe with Premiere Pro, instead of just sending me the footage and then me downloading in it and then fixing it up, can't he just directly share it with me or something like that? I don't know if you're aware or not, but I think there's a way for him to just straight up share the his timeline or his timeline with me, so I can go in and edit as well. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yeah.
I think
well, I will ask him if he can share with you his kind of editing base so that you can see, how he constructed this thing.
Yeah.
So he would just send that to you as a Google Drive, right?
I think. I mean, I could try looking it up after we break contact, but I'll have to look into it a little bit because again I've never tried it. I remember like seeing it somewhere before when I first started using Premiere, like, oh, you can share and everyone can access the same thing, and then you never have to like worry about sending each other stuff. You can just share it, right? But I never looked into it since a lot of my freelance that I've done is just by myself.
Right. What software do you use for editing?
Adobe Premiere Pro. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I use Adobe Suite.
Yeah, I'll ask him. I talked to him today since he left on the 16th. I talked to him today for a few minutes. So I know he's going to be like super crazy busy. So hopefully he will get that to you. So we may have to just start with the MP4 that we have as a composite that he's done. But I'll ask him to share his editing bay and anything else that we can.
Yeah, definitely. No, for now, yeah, just send me that MP4, and then we'll try to get figured out if he's able to send just share his timeline with me, so then I can just go in and edit it from there on my end instead of having to re-download everything. Because I don't know if you're aware.
That would take a big leap into making sure that we do a couple of things. One is collaboration, but two would reduce the amount of time and energy and manpower to get this thing done. So that's exactly what I'll ask you to do.
Yeah, not only that, but I don't know if you're aware, but like downloading and re-downloading footage is gonna compress files and then make it all like noisy, if that makes any sense. Like so that's why I just personally just recommend like seeing if you can try to share. But yeah, definitely just send it to me. I'll take a look at it. Probably when I'm at work tonight, in between calls or on my lunch break, and try to go through the footage and just kind of get a better understanding of your guys' vision and the story that you want to present. But yeah.
Cool. All right, so I'm sending him a text now. Okay, bro. I'm in this noisy Apple store right now, so man, thanks for hanging in. And
Yeah.
I've had a long day, man. I've been, crazy. I'll tell you about it.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll talk before Christmas, man. So again, Merry
Yeah,
Christmas.
for
We
sure.
don't speak. Okay.
Yeah. Man, really quick before we go, I got one more question. So Yvette, I just noticed this right now, but about 3 days ago, Yvette from Brotherhood Crusade emailed me about my driver's license, because she said she just noticed that it had my Fontana address on it, and that she's asking for a water and power bill or a gas bill with my name on it.
Okay. We'll talk offline and see if we can figure that out. We'll talk offline.
Talk
Okay.
offline. All right.
No.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.